The Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison connection is a work in progress, Johnny Venerable, and the Cards lost a key player in offense.
People really think Marvin Harrison Jr. is slow. You shut your mouth. PHNX Cardinals starts now. Well, fanboys here live on a Wednesday. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast presented by our friends at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app today. Use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Choose your offer. Find out why it's never ordinary, not even for a second, with our friends at Bet365. Not an ordinary podcast. Today, I'm Johnny Venerable. He's Brack in studio. Damon, Dawg, producer extraordinaire behind the mic. If you've been living under a rock for the last 24 hours, Mina Kimes joining this program later in the show. Plenty to talk about today. Bo, where do we begin?
Oh, man. I mean, where you started with your cold open, your tease. People calling Marvin Harrison Jr. slow? Yeah, I mean, I was out there on the practice field. It looked like he had center blocks for his New Balance shoes instead. I mean, it's sad. It really is sad.
Somebody called him Molasses Marv, and I'm like, I think I just want to quit this year already.
Somebody did?
Somebody was like, that's Molasses Marv, and I'm like, I'm done. I thought we could have good things, and apparently one game, one hiccup in his rookie career, his first game, we're punting on the guy. That's fine.
Put the Maserati away, and we got Molasses Marv. That's it was not expecting that, but I so fully expected that from the internet.
It's horrifying. We got super chats to read from yesterday.
Right.
So we're going to get to those, of course, the top of the show, but we do want to start with the Marv K1 discourse, because it was like Christmas morning. Not only did Kyler Murray talk, which he has to as a quarterback on Wednesdays, Marv actually spoke to you and the rest of the Phoenix media here, Brack. And I just feel like if it's not this weekend, it's never going to happen. Cardinals are going to go out and they're going to feed number 18. That's what I took away from these comments. Yeah. You tell me what you think.
Yeah, I mean, it was fueled by a couple big-time publications being big-time bums by taking Craig Morgan's great article at gophnx.com, breaking down Marvin Harrison Jr.'s slow start, comments from the Arizona Cardinals offensive coordinator Drew Petzing, quarterback Kyler Murray. A lot of parties involved here, breaking it down and giving full context, and they're just cherry picking a quote to push this negative Kyler Murray agenda, which is just pathetic, just to get to farm engagement. It really is sad to say that it's not his job to get Marvin Harrison Jr. involved in the offense, and that was not the full quote. Basically, what he was saying is Drew Petzing is taking that off his plate, as he's got a ton of playmakers within that offense to just read the defense and find the open player. That's what Kyler Murray was essentially saying, and I was paraphrasing, but to kind of make it out as Kyler Murray basically sitting back, probably lighting the cigarette and being like, not my problem if Marvin Harrison gets the ball.
That's how I read it. That's how I read the quote. That's what I thought he said.
I mean, it's embarrassing, but you have to deal with it. And it's like you've got these engagement farming accounts that pick that up and ran with it. And then you've got, betting sites that they want to get engagement on their social media feed as well. And then you've got like places like Bleacher Report, and they don't bat an eye. They just say, oh my God, he said that. Well, we got to run with that. That's a national story. And the next thing you know, Kyler Murray's getting more negative press that he doesn't deserve.
It's like, again, what are we professionals, or are we doing real journalism? This show does. Or are we just, taking for clicks? Did you not catch yesterday's show is peak real journalism, by the way.
Big J stuff.
Big J stuff. It's predictable, but what did we say? We said they had to win for this discourse, this kind of, I don't even know, we can't swear anymore, but just the not good vibes around K1 will not go away unless they win games.
Correct.
Doesn't matter if they put up, they're like top 10 in points. They put up 28 points. Kyler had a good game. He's top 5 in QBR for quarterbacks. Doesn't matter. They have to win games. And that, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it should be, right? It's the NFL. This isn't, other sports where you can stat pad and get big money contract. No, it's about winning and performing on Sunday. And what was the big outlier outside of the horrific defense, which we've talked about, was, the Cardinals had a disconnection with Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. And despite what everybody thought of K1, even some of his staunchest, biggest critics said, you know what? I don't love Kyler, but I love that combination. I know he's going to produce with Marvin. And so everybody got their pitchforks out when their fantasy football teams, hello, Shane Diefenbach, they didn't perform with Marvin Harrison Jr. And now everybody's like, attack. It's Kyler's fault. He'll never get it. Cards ruin Marvin. We literally have been doing this for a week and things have already imploded. But here's the good news. They can correct it on Sunday and it'll be a dead issue. Nobody will talk about it. I know you posted Justin Jefferson's early career stats.
Mhm.
I remember watching Devontae Adams as a rookie, and he was unwatchable. How many balls did he drop that year? And I'm not saying that's going to happen tomorrow for 17 games, but it does, I think, give some credence to some of us who are like, maybe let's get some of this going before the regular season.
Sure.
We don't have to sit here and hope and pray it's going to work out. It's too late for that. We're not going to second guess, but in hindsight, maybe a possession or two in the preseason. I mean, they just look like they had no rhythm. They will get it eventually.
Right. And that was the big kind of message today as we're out there in Tempe at the Cardinals facility, and that this is a work in progress. And like, I get that, and it's going to take time. Michael Wilson said that in his great interview with us yesterday as he officially joined the team. Look out for Michael Wilson consistently throughout the 2024 season, talking to these two yahoos and Damon Dawg as well. But like, it's a work in progress. We got to get reps. It's tough to really replicate the on-field reps that you're going to get when the lights are brightest and the bullets are live, right? And it's like, okay, well, there's 3 opportunities to do that. That's probably a little bit better than practice. So, I think maybe they reevaluate the preseason and hopefully it's with a 2-game preseason next year. But Damon, do we have some of the footage from the Cards facility, from the Cardinals head coach, from Kyler Murray? Let's get to Kyler Murray, speaking about his relationship with Marvin Harrison Jr.
Nothing changes. Nothing changes. We're we got the utmost confidence in what we're capable of. I don't know if you went back and watched the game. I think they were doing a good job of making sure that he wasn't going to be singled up or not be singled up majority of the game. But nothing. I'll never lose confidence in Marv. His first game. We got to continue to get better, and we will.
I just hate this discourse. Kyler Murray was the best player in college football. He never lost games, and he's had a tough go, in my opinion, because of a lot of the dysfunction with this team. And then Marv comes here, and he was the best wide receiver of the last 10 years, and he gets on the Cardinals, and people are like, Cardinals' fault. He's a bust now. He can't run. And it's just like, can we not just have something just seamlessly?
He's slow, Johnny. He needs to drop the refrigerator.
The Cardinals, though, they open themselves up to criticism, and this is where I will play devil's advocate. Okay. Marv didn't do anything in the offseason to prepare for the season. So I've already seen people jump on that. Like, where was that production? And everybody's like, where's the athletic testing? We need to know if Marv is slow or not, which is the biggest joke of all. If you're putting that out there,
you have 2 eyes. Have you ever watched Marv at Ohio State? Did he look slow to you out there playing for the Buckeyes?
There are people I respect that are putting that out there. I pray for you. I pray for you with the football gods. If you're asking yourself, can Marvin Harrison Jr. move quickly? Like seek professional help.
Yeah.
Cook the Indianapolis Colts defensive backs. He cooked every defensive back in the history of college football for the last 3 years. We've had his position coach and offensive coordinator from Ohio State on to this show, and he was emphatically the most talented receiver in a receiving room with Chris Olave and Jackson Smith and Jigma. It didn't matter. Garrett Wilson, they're all like, did you see what Marv just did? It's not an athleticism. Here's what happened. They played a good defense. He was nervous. He has not had enough time with Kyler Murray. They will work it out. But the fact that people are questioning his athleticism, seek help. Seek help.
Yeah, It's a bit of a you're going to throw your back out reaching for that one. I'm going to pull a Johnny here and throw out with all due respect.
Nice.
With all due respect to Marquise Hollywood Brown, he's not a player that you draw up and force the issue with in an offense, and that was probably the only player that resembled that caliber player outside of the emergence of Trey McBride last year for the Arizona Cardinals and first-year offensive coordinator Drew Petzing. This is the first time he's got a player the caliber where he's going to have the full attention of the defense, and that's what Marvin Harrison Jr. had in week 1, where he only saw 11 snaps of his, I believe, 33 on offense, where he wasn't staring down, just one defender. And so I think that Marvin Harrison Jr. obviously and Drew Petzing and Kyler Murray need to get back in the lab and figure out ways to really kind of force feed a star player the ball and find a successful way to game plan that, because it's not something that he had to do last season, probably at any point, just based on they were in year 1 of a rebuild and didn't have anybody that made the case. But right out of the gates, the Buffalo Bills treated Marvin Harrison Jr. like he was the best player on the field as far as how they covered him. And the Cardinals, I think, need to make him the priority number 1 as far as getting on the right track.
Let's get to MHJ himself talking about his relationship with Kyler Murray.
Hopefully sooner or later. I think we'll continue to see. We'll see. I don't think we're in a bad place right now at all. Obviously, I don't really think that. But just the live reps will continue to grow and show.
I can't believe we have to ask him these questions about whether or not he's in a bad place. It's September 11th. Prayers up. The season has been going on for a hot minute, and we're having this discourse. It is unbelievable. Yeah, very believable.
1 game in, 30 minutes of offensive play.
I signed up to complain about the defense all year. That's my calling card. I'm clocking in and clocking out every day.
You're at the top of the list
to complain about this defense. I did not expect that we were going to have to defend the fact that they took Marvin Harrison Jr. 4th overall and defend him against Malik Neighbors and Joe Alt today. I didn't want to do that, but we will, and we are.
The last part, I didn't know we were doing that. I'm going to opt out of that. I'm not going to bring in the Joe Alt, Malik Neighbors conversation debate.
The Joe Alt discourse on Twitter after they shut down the Raiders and Max Crosby. It's like, did the Cardinals make a mistake? Should they have Control Alt deleted their selection of Marvin Harrison Jr. and gone?
I'm going to Control Alt delete and just completely turn off for that conversation. I'm out on that. But hey, good for the Chargers to make the next decision there in this draft, second non-quarterback choice in this draft, and they made the right one, and that's great. But now, it's up to the Cardinals to start to continue to change the narrative. And you didn't want to kind of have to add another one on top of, the one of them going into year 2 of the rebuild is continuing the direction under Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort. Were they going to lead this team into consistent success, or just out of, the darkness it has been the last 2 seasons since that 2021 playoff season? So it really is unfortunate. And it's like, you got a first half where this offense, they scored on 3 consecutive drives, 3 double-digit scoring drives that they put together, and every opportunity that they got in the first half. And then we're still having a field of questions. The discourse still is burning with the fire of 1,000 suns, even more so than going into this season.
There's so much pressure on this coaching staff this week for 100 different reasons. There are so many storylines to follow. We're going to talk about it. The Rams have no offensive linemen left. They're just basically punting on an O-line this week. And it's putting a lot of pressure on JG and Nick Rollis to scheme up a way to somehow field a competent defense this weekend. And then on the flip side, everybody in the chat echoing this, if you're Drew Petzing and you want to be a big-time offensive play caller and you think you're a future head coach, no more Marv, 3 targets, 4 yards. And the discourse is out there. Your quarterback, your receiver have to acknowledge it now. It's a game plan thing. It was a game plan thing last week. Cannot be a game plan thing this week to avoid it. You almost have to, for better or worse, force him some early passes in this game. You have to go out there and make it a conservative effort against a Rams team that wants to do a lot of different coverages than the Buffalo Bills. A lot of single man. Marv will have one-on-one coverage this week. Yeah. You just got to figure out a way to make it work, because I'm going to tell you right now, and I think the Rams are as well coached as you can find in the NFL. They don't have anybody as a DB that can hang with Marvin Harrison Jr. And you force that. They don't have a 6'4", 215-pound defensive back that's going to be running around with MHJ. You make them shut him down and you make them uncomfortable. And then you want to mix in your little run game and your dump offs to your tight ends and your screen pass. Awesome. But you have an opportunity, and I think now more than ever, a responsibility when you take a receiver this high of this caliber. You have to use them, especially on a team like the Cardinals. They don't have any luxuries. He wipes away their margin for error. You have to take care of it starting this weekend.
Well, I mean, we had a full disclosure. We had an interview with Brian Baldinger, and look for that tomorrow. It gives us a breakdown not only on Marvin Harrison Jr.'s quiet debut, but the infamous play with Kyler Murray and where Marvin Harrison Jr. looked like he was wide open, and then also just getting into game planning for the Rams. Like, the run game should be a big part of what they're doing on Sunday, but also not just a sidebar. The main thing here is they got to incorporate and get Marvin Harrison Jr. involved. Like, the full quote, the one that, caused all the uproar today on the social media streets was, Kyler Murray saying, sometimes the ball goes to him, but that's not my job. I have a sense and a feel for the guys. They don't get the ball. And when they are getting the ball, but I leave that up to Drew Petzing. He tells me, don't worry about that type of stuff. Just keep playing your game and get the ball to where it's supposed to go. So here's what that means to me. Like, it doesn't, absolve Kyler Murray or Drew Petzing of, their role in Marvin Harrison Jr. having one catch for 4 yards on 3 targets. It means this upcoming Sunday, this is me, Drew Petzing, with more hair, talking to Kyler Murray's headset, saying, okay, this is what we've got going here. Here's the play. Marvin Harrison Jr. is your first option. He probably is not going to be open. Still get him the ball. Like, that's got to happen. Just find a way. He's 6'4". Put it in a place where only he can go get it, and he's probably going to go get it.
Like, I think Drew Petzing's really smart. I think this coaching staff is leaps and bounds smarter than a lot that we've had in the history of the Cardinal franchise. I need to see that this weekend. I need to see this coaching staff out-coach for at least part of the game Sean McVay's staff and just say, hey, you know what? We have an advantage with your crumbling offensive line. We have an advantage with our playmakers. We're going to use them. Jameson Williams undressed the LA Rams. There's no reason Marvin Harrison Jr. can't do that.
Great
even
point.
As the rookie, even in his second game, you got to make them uncomfortable vertically. There are opportunities. They need to take advantage. We're going to take advantage of these super chats. Came through the pipeline yesterday. Apologies, we didn't get to these just because had a big time interview with our guy, Michael Wilson. So just a couple off the top here. Kenny Marshall said yesterday, Bo and Johnny, if you were the GM head coach, who deserves to be a starter on D? Who isn't up to standard? Give us a list. So I think basically what the question was is somebody sitting defensively that shouldn't be sitting?
Ooh, that's harder. Okay.
I think Taylor Demerson has to play more as the season goes on.
Okay.
And I think you have to have maybe some uncomfortable conversations with Budda Baker, who did not have a great game one, but at the same time, like, athletically, Budda is not going to get better as the season goes on. Like, Budda is who he is this late in his career. I think you have to implement 3 safeties. I think you have to get it to a point where Taylor Demerson has elite ball skills. I would use Budda's strengths to your benefit, his leadership, his aggressiveness. I'd play him toward the line of scrimmage. I think this is a big Budda week this week. But in terms of Taylor Demerson in coverage, I like that matchup. I would like to see them lean into that as the season
I like
goes
that.
on.
I that didn't come to mind. Max Melton continues to be in concussion protocol, and what we saw as far as Taylor Demerson last week and defensive snaps, he didn't get a single one. He was all special teams. So let's get Rab out there. I like that, Rabbit. And let's see. You like what you saw from the off-ball linebacker, so no Owen Papo, but
can I give you another one? I got another one.
Yeah, of course you do. I mean, the defense is your forte.
It is. I would put Mac Wilson at pass rusher, and I would move Owen Papo permanently next to Kazir White. And if that didn't work, I'd let Kazir White and Chris Barnes start. If Papo can't be missing those blitzes uncovered, you got schemed up by Rollis to hit Josh Allen. It's easier said than done. I would put Mac Wilson off the edge opposite Zaven. I've seen enough of Dennis Gardeck. I don't need to see any more.
I've been begging for that. I think ever since the Ojulari injury happened, that kind of should have been the game plan.
CBK saying Wilson's great versus the run, though. I mean, I think you got to give to get. And right now you're getting nothing from a pass rushing standpoint.
Well, the two guys that you've mentioned here, from Rabbit Taylor Demerson to Mac Wilson, is they've got you opportunities either A, to create a negative play, or B, to take the ball away. And that's where, you've put yourself in a position, and we'll get more into the futility of the pass rush.
Oh, we will. We're going to talk about that later.
Isn't it every show? So it's you got to find creative ways to do it, and those are some interesting players that you brought in this offseason that, after one game, I know, albeit one game, those guys give you kind of the options.
Big news. So formerly S-Bag Mafia, back-to-back super chats yesterday, is going to be moving forward known as the Steve Kimes School of Drafting. So the S-Bag Mafia has been dissolved. So that's a big movement. So we're looking forward to the Steve Kimes School of Drafting with future comments and super chats. So we appreciate that.
We've actually, I just got word. I just got word. That's more of an offensive name than the Mafia. So back to the drawing board for the, what is it now? The Steve Kimes School of
Draft. Gagger yesterday just put in, I love Michael Wilson. Tell him I love him. We will. Yeah. Thank you for that.
We have breaking news here, by the way.
Hit me with it. Good news or bad news?
I wouldn't consider it good news. The Arizona Cardinals injury report has been released.
Okay.
And the Arizona Cardinals franchise quarterback has shown up on it. Kyler Murray, who was out there practicing, but is on the injury report as limited with a knee. So Kyler Murray shows up on the injury report going into week 2. That's breaking news.
Okay. Thanks for that. That's exactly what I needed. That's exactly what I want. Exactly what I needed. What is going on? Did he mention a knee? Did they mention a knee earlier?
No. And obviously we only get the open portion of the practice, the first 20 minutes. This guy's just kind of stretching, warming up. Kyler Murray looked like he was full go. He didn't have any indication in his post-practice press conference. There's been no indications from the game or practice that would say, hey, ask about his knee. So that's just something that kind of came out of nowhere. The injury
if he's a full participant, why even put that on there? Why even put that on there? Bo Brock feverishly tweeting. Let's get to some of these super chats here. This show, Mina Kimes is going to join us around the corner here. Shane, $5. Hello from Ireland. You've spoken about pass rush and so on, but what about tackling? I'm sick of lads failing to wrap up. Love the use of lads, by the way. Trying to make huge hits. I think that'll get corrected. Buddha missed tackles. Max Melton missed tackles. Owen Papo missed tackles because your White had an uncharacteristically bad game. Shane, I'm going to contribute that to what I said about MHJ and K1 earlier. They didn't play in the preseason. There is a lingering effect when guys do not have live reps in a game against an opponent. I don't care about a joint practice. It's going to carry over. And then there are teams that play guys in the preseason that I thought looked sharper, frankly, week 1. So it's not a characteristic of a Gannon defense to have poor tackling. But again, I understand you want to keep somebody healthy or players healthy throughout the course of the year, and you don't want to put them in the preseason. We'll see. Maybe rethink that next year to some degree. Play them in one game. Do something.
Yeah. Love the lads. As long as it's not lads. I think that's good. Thank you, Shane, for the $5 super chat, £5 super chat. Lots of different currencies being used on the super chats these days.
Yes. It's hard to keep track of them all.
$4.99. This D line gonna be salesman at Sanderson Ford next year. They don't hassle the QB. They won't hassle you either.
Wow, it's tremendous. That's tremendous, Scott. They'll basically pick you up. It's a smooth, easy transaction, my friend.
They're no hassle, no pressure, just like their pass rush. Yeah.
How about our friend Schleimenschlag? $2. The Bo Johnny Schism is going to destroy America. I don't know. I think our debate yesterday before the actual debate, I think that was a little tougher to watch in my opinion. But there's no schism here. The good news is, we're a couple of fanboys, we're a couple of shill boys, but we do not agree on everything. And that's a direct reflection, I would assume, of this fan base. That a lot of different, every opinion is welcome here. Every opinion is
no
valid.
doubt about it. Even wrong ones like Johnny.
Yep. Jeez. Schleiman Schlog coming back at it.
Schleiman, don't do this to Drew Petzing. Petzing or Arthur Smith, they're the same person.
One of them got it. One of them got a dub over the weekend. Just saying.
Damon, Dawg, you have a chance to have a rebuttal against Schleiman Schlog
and this egregious comparison you made here. Yeah, I mean, I think Drew Petzing, if you just took first halves, he might be the best offensive play caller in football. And Arthur Smith has never been the best offensive play caller in football.
Not in any half.
Not in any half, quarter, drive. So that's where the major difference is.
Okay. That's a great rebuttal.
Illadre 199. They should run Benson more. They will. He looked good. He needs rhythm carries. I think he'll get a couple more possessions. Look good. You know, he was dancing a little too much on that one carry from Sunday, but outside of that, picked up a first down. Like at the end of the year, he'll have a really solid contributing rookie season, and they'll have to make a decision, you know, what to do with James Conner long term.
And then was it Reezy Baby jumping in there too?
Yeah,
with the super chat as well.
Yeah, $5. Thanks for you guys bringing the heat every day. Of course, the emotions and sensibility balanced as we need. Now let's get the Rooks some touches. It's tips time. Here's what I'll say to that. I think there's a good chance Tip Ryman has single-digit catches this year. How about that?
Less than 10?
Yeah, I think with what I've seen so far, I'm ready to just come out with a hot take. The Tip Ryman, like, did they even look close to throwing the football his way? I mean, it's like
I think over under 9.5 is a great line.
I do too. I think that's about where it should be set.
It's a sweat. That's a sweat. Just based off my
think about how absurd that is that we're having this conversation right now. I hate you all.
Third round pick. I'm going over, by the way. Hashtag Tip Watch.
I like Ozzy's suggestion here. A lot of people have been throwing this out there. Hey, Tip, you want to earn your salt? Go play right tackle this week. Don't hate that. In all serious note, is he going to help play right tackle this week?
Probably. You probably see him slide over that side. I was even saying, I said this to you last night after the Jeremy Fowler report, correct? Right? Jeremy Fowler had the report last night on Jonah Williams before we got the news about IR. Jeremy Fowler saying that, you know, they were still determining the length of time that Jonah Williams could be out. Like, it doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence, but should they try Isaiah Adams over at right tackle just in practice? Not with the first team?
No chance. I don't
think
so.
He's just a guard. He's a guard now.
I don't think you can, after what we saw in the preseason with him. It was tough. He's a good run blocker. But no, you said that you wanted, I'm speaking as Osborne Gannon, Beacham as your swing tackle. Here you go. This is what swing tackle does. We're going to talk more about Jonah Williams and his absence.
Gager from yesterday, though. Gager had a $2 super chat. It said, tell Michael Wilson I love him. I'm sorry we didn't get to relay that message. We'll relay that.
I think I called him Gagger, but it's Gager.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. All right. We'll keep the party rolling here, and we're going to get to Mina Kimes. We're going to talk about Jonah Williams. But first, I'm going to tell you about our friends at Circle K, America's thirst stop. Listen, I'm hot. I'm sweaty. It's hot here in Arizona. Hooking you up right now with a 79-cent Polar Pop or Froster for all Inner Circle members. Again, if you haven't become a member, what are you doing? You see it advertised. We talk about it in this show because we believe in it. We use it in our actual personal lives. Save 25 cents per gallon your first 5 fill-ups. It's super easy to download, by the way. You enter your email, your phone number. That's it. You're enrolled. No questions asked. Go save some money. Who doesn't love saving money these days? Find it on your apps. Inner Circle-offers. Save 3 cents per gallon every single day after the fact. Join the Inner Circle right now for free by downloading the Circle K app today, Bo. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details, and then CircleK.com/store-locator to find the Circle K nearest to you.
We already got a head start on this by maybe identifying some future Sanderson Ford salesmen, but they already have a great staff over there, and they've got a great inventory, even better at America's largest Ford dealership, 65 glorious acres out there in the West Valley. Check out Sanderson Ford. It gives back. It's one of the many things that they do, but what they mainly do, their incredible sales approach, as we mentioned, it's a no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense sales approach. And you can look at their Ford Ranger. How about that? How about their Ford Super Duty, Ford Escape? How about their Mustang and their F-150 XLT? All great vehicles. Check out their full inventory with that no pressure, no hassle, no nonsense sales approach. You can just look at a car. If you just want to just get a glimpse at it, just go meet the wonderful people out there, check it out, and check out the full lot right there, because they've got great benefits when you do make the decision to purchase a car. 0% financing for 36 months with no payments for 90 days on the F-150, the Escape, the Edge, the Explorer, the Expedition. Football season's back, baby, and so are the deals at Arizona's largest Ford dealership, Sanderson Ford. See dealer for details.
Get back to the super chats. Yanks 199. Lukewarm take. Gannon calls the defense, Bo. I don't think we're there yet. They love Nick Rallis. They poached Nick Rallis. They believe Nick Rallis is a future head coach in this league. But I mean, like, here's the thing, Yanks, and you're alluding to this. At some point, at some time, they have to play good defense with a defensive-minded head coach. I don't care who you pick the personnel, you guys, over the last 18 months, and with a defensive coordinator that everybody loves. Everybody loves Nick Rallis. Everybody loves Jonathan Gannon defensively. When are we going to, as Cardinal fans, get to experience a defense that can get turnovers, can stop the run, can get stops specifically in the second half, can finish games? Like, I can't sit here, fast forward to January, whatever the record is, fine, and watch a top five or bottom five defense again.
Mm-hmm.
You just say, nope, we're good. I mean, look at Robert Salas feeling heat. His defense didn't perform great. He's on the hot seat with San Francisco.
He went up against the team he faced so many times in practice and disappeared with what was supposed to be one of the strongest defenses in the league.
Now, I think Jonathan Gannon, Yanks, is an elite leader of men. I think he's a good head coach that's going to become a great one. And I think he's bigger than just calling his side of the ball. But you're right. There is a stigma, fair or not. And Bruce Arians had to deal with this, and Cliff Kingsbury at the end of his tenure. If your side of the ball that you specialize is struggling, you're going to get questions about it. And Gannon knows that.
Yeah, they all know that, right? Nick Rallis knows that.
Yeah.
One thing that does stand out, though, with this comment is that Jonathan Gannon said that to Michael Bidwill, Monty Ossenfort, when he was, in the talks to become the Cardinals' next head coach, like, if you expect me to come in and be your head coach and your defense coordinator, it's not going to work.
Right.
He doesn't want to do that. He wants to have his hand in everything that they do. And sure, he's got, his background from the defensive side of football, and he's going to work there and mentor Nick Rallis. But, things would have to go horrendously awry. It would have to be a catastrophe in order for him to take over the defense. And look, if it trends like it did in week one, the rest of the season, your hands are tied at that point. But, let's just look back at their last two performances, right? The regular season finale in 2023, they held the Seahawks to 21 points, and then they gave up 34 points to Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. So, those are, 21 points is decent in today's NFL, where obviously the most recent performance, if it's consistent, is not acceptable.
Libertarian Sasquatch 199. Can you explain full practice, but on the report, Bo? How can Kyler Murray practice fully, but then have a knee come up as an injury?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I'm not entirely sure, and as we're getting the injury report as we're live on air, haven't had to take any time to kind of research that.
Why not? How dare you?
Do I even know anything? I'll just make way for somebody.
What do you even do with the talking about? You chill around.
I carry the water for Clayton Tune and other players that I've been tied to, Dennis Kardec. But yeah, I'll look for an answer for you, Libertarian Sasquatch. It's a good question.
My dear friend Joey Zimmerman has entered the chat with a super chat. Thank you so much, Joe. $5. Give us some Cards prop recommendations against the Lambs. Riverboat Gramblers want to know. Jack Prod doing his best Stephen Brule. We've got some bets later in the show. Damon, did you get that one? We got some bets later in the show around the NFL. But just on the surface with our friends at Bet365, are there any prop bets that you like ahead of this weekend, Bo? Like I think it's probably fair to say, like, do we continue to hammer the Marv props until they hit? Like at some point, those have got to hit, right?
I got to take a look at them to make that determination.
I like the Marv props this week because his number is down to 57.5 with our friends at Bet365, and I think that's disrespectful. And I will be holding that line.
Okay, I like that.
Proud of you, Damon.
Thanks, man. Michael Wilson 30.5. That interest anybody?
Those are tasty.
Yeah. Kyler Murray over.
Those are two guys that had 2 catches for 9 yards. That's
Kyler Murray over 231.5 passing yards. I like that.
Cooper Kupp over 85.5 is pretty criminal, actually. Let's everyone invest all the money that you have into that.
Cash out your pension at work. Can you cash out your 401k? I've never loved to bet more than that.
21 targets last week. Was that Cooper Kupp? 14 catches, 21 targets.
Cards will stop him.
Him to get 100 receiving yards is plus 155. It's not too bad. I like that.
Plus 155.
Jonah Williams is out. He placed on injured reserve. We kind of knew that or alluded to that yesterday's show, but at the same time, does look like he'll be back at some point this season. They're determining the extent. Gannon confirmed, Bo, today that don't know if he needs surgery. Kind of like
we got Gannon. We got Gannon
talking about it. Let's do it.
Injuries, Jonah's going to go on IR. Not going to speculate about the time when he's going to get back, what that looks like. Still gathering more information about that. Max is going through the protocol right now. Other than that, we're good to go.
Where's the franchise QB on there?
I mean, that was pre-practice.
But you think that happened in practice?
Marv plus 1.5 catches that's tough. See, I don't want to live in this reality.
Hey, real quick, do you think Kyler got hurt in practice today?
I mean, he came into the press conference room and conducted his interview like normal.
I guess if he wasn't on the injury, this is the first injury report of the week.
Yes.
Right? So that means that it could have happened before this.
Yeah.
Okay. Just getting clarity here. There's a lot of moving parts. We're back in our groove here. Jonah Williams gone. Kelvin Beachum takes over, at least for now. Do you foresee them bringing in a veteran at any point to be able to help?
They brought in a tackle today who's massive. Is it Charlie Heck? What a name! And he's got tackle experience. But I mean, where do you go? Like, are you talking about pulling a deal off? Because teams giving up tackles just doesn't happen. Christian Jones is on IR, so I think they're going to go with Kelvin Beachum.
They made their bed with that position.
Beach played right tackle while DJ Humphries was the starting left tackle for this team for what, 2 seasons?
Yes.
And for the last season, he was the main right tackle for this team. He's fine. Like, he was consistent. He played started every single one of those games. But then he cross trains and he goes back and he fills in for Beachum at the end of the season after his injury. And Beach was a left tackle. Like, you got to be ambidextrous to play left and right tackle. And, I hope he can kind of get more into the groove of playing that position going forward, because, I mean, him playing is the primary reason why Gregory Rousseau was the AFC Defensive Player of the Week.
Rough look. They'll scheme it up this week. They'll give him help. They'll chip. But again, at some point they got to be able to just have 5 offensive linemen and let it rip to their playmakers and not consistently give a back or a tight end. And the Rams defense, Byron Young's a good player. They drafted Jared Verse. It's not going to be easy. But no excuses. I don't want to hear about injuries this week. We've made a point at the top of this week.
Compared to what the Rams are doing with?
Yeah, we're not talking about injuries. That's right. The Rams got papier-mâché offensive linemen, and Matthew Stafford is still poised to have a big day against this Arizona Cardinal defense, which, by the way, we broke down yesterday during the debut of the Johnny Ralphio segment, that it is right now the worst pass rush in the NFL. ESPN Advanced Metrics said it's the second worst defense in the NFL. But then we have a little bit more on the pass rush. Damon, Dawg, can we see this? The week 1 pressure rate for the Arizona Cardinals. Get this, Bo. This is from Brett Coleman online. Cardinals edge rushers generated 3.5% pressure rate last week. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure I've ever seen an NFL team do that before. And if you're kind of catching his sarcasm there, not a good stat, not a stat you want to be associated with. That's 3.5% pressure rate for the entirety of the game. It's almost like they were rushing no one.
I want to keep this shot here because when we often say Damon, Dawg, is an award-winning producer, you wonder like what separates himself from the other producers. And this tweet mixed with this graphic that it looks like Jonathan Gannon is delivering the news to Dennis Gardeck that this was their lowly pressure rate for week 1. That's what makes Damon, Dawg great. Just the mix of both. It kills me.
That's his Mona Lisa right there. What? You're telling me we didn't sack him one time? I was there. I played. No, actually.
Gardeck saying, I think we did a little bit better than that.
No, you didn't. It was 3.5%.
The numbers are in, Dennis. You're the worst. Pass rush is the worst. Who could have seen this coming? It's, you know what? It's so sad. You have to laugh about it. But you know what? There's nothing that could have been done. There are no players that could have been had. You couldn't assign anybody. You couldn't have traded for anybody.
Like the football on this. You're grossing everybody out.
That's what I'm here to do. I can't remember who. National reporter, she's fantastic, posted about Haason Reddick today. And basically that everybody believes it was a huge mistake for Joe Douglas to dig his heels in saying he's not going to trade him because clearly there's no end in sight. And so that the only reason they haven't traded him yet is they don't want to look like idiots from saying that they weren't going to trade him. And so now Haason isn't helping the Jets, certainly not helping the Cardinals, and the Jets can't help themselves. So yeah, it's tough. It's a tough scene out here on these pass rush streets. But here's what I'm going to do.
All that. Here's what I'll say on that. Just monitor that situation. Just keep tabs on it. But at the same time, the Jets their desperation move. They're going to think that they can recoup similar, value of what they traded away for Haason Reddick, and you can't give them anything close to that. They have nowhere to go. This is just an ugly stalemate that isn't going to be resolved, and the best solution is for a mutual parting of ways. And if the Cardinals can be the beneficiary from that, so be it. That'd be great. Don't let any team, especially in the NFC West, get ahead of you on that. But monitor the situation, and but also don't come bail them out either.
Yeah, I mean the Rams signed a cornerback today that started for them last year. They're out there trying to make moves, trying to make their team better. Cardinal fans would love to be able to look at this team and say, like, let's make this year about this year with one move that could get people fired up. Because I mean, here's the deal: they lost every preseason game, which does not matter. They lost the opener in a tough way. Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't perform, and so we got to get the vibes going in the right direction. And I very much of the mindset. You have a unique opportunity this Sunday at State Farm Stadium to reintroduce your fan base to winning football against a divisional opponent and a head coach who has tormented you for almost a decade. This fan base deserves better in the sense of, you know what, we're gonna see this through. We need just some patience from people. I feel like I have a pretty good pulse of the fan base. The patience is kind of waning right now a little bit with every storyline that comes out. Everything that happened last weekend. We need some positive vibes, man. This team needs a dub, probably the worst since the Gannon era started. Would you agree with that? This feels like this weekend, you got to find a way to get a win this weekend.
I mean, even with the goodwill that they created in the first half and then squandered it in the second half, and then the variables going into it as far as the Rams and how they were just ravaged on Sunday Night Football across the offensive line, the opportunity is there once again to get a win, and get a win in a place that you haven't consistently done it, since early 2021.
Yeah. Josina Anderson, by the way, had that Reddick report. Another super chat here. Here's from Cam199. Why is Kyler on the injury report, Bo? Bo, have you done your homework? Do you know about this? Kyler Murray's on the injury report.
Kyler Murray did show up on the injury report that was just released within the hour with a knee, but he was a full participant in practice. That's all we know about it right now. Haven't had a chance to do any digging about the details of that.
Clayton Tune plays this weekend. I'm not going to be very happy, but that hopefully it's not the case. Next time we get an injury report.
To Kyler Murray, by the way, like between practice and the injury report, he had his weekly press conference. Seemed fine.
Did he at any point have injury report status during his return last year?
He did when he was officially activated. Remember, like there was a lot when people were speculating about when he was going to return, when he was on the injury report, when he was not. But yeah, from what I saw and what I could report, when he walked in the press conference room, at no point did he go, "Ow, my knee."
You're the worst. All right, you guys have waited. Mina Kimes right around the corner. On this fine program, we're going to talk to her about K1 and Marvin and this defense. But first, I'm going to talk to you all about our friends at Game Time. Use the bonus code PHNX for $20 off. If I go to Game Time right now, I bet I can get into the Cards game this weekend for not a pretty penny, based on the fact that Game Time is your premier ticketing app. I'm looking at right now, $17. $17, the cheapest seat's going to get you in the door. And then you take $20 off of that, you're going for free, baby, with our friends at Game Time. Flash deals. They reward procrastinators, which are great. So if you want to wait till Saturday, Sunday, do it. They've got parking passes. And on top of just the NFL, they've got Major League Baseball, other sporting events, entertainment, concerts, festivals, whatever you want. It's your premier ticketing app. It's got the best interface money can buy. It's fantastic. I look at it on my phone and my desktop computer. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account. Use the bonus code PHNX, $20 off your first purchase. Terms and conditions apply. Create an account and redeem the code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today, Bo. What time is it? It's game time.
Game time, baby. And if you're not going to the game, head over to Gila River Resorts and Casinos. And actually, if you don't have any plans for the weekday, the weekend, great place to go. Spend some time and get some next level entertainment. At Gila River Resorts and Casinos, nobody does it better. If you join us for our watch party on Sunday, you realize that. If you were out there at all with us last season, you saw the Great Wild Horse Pass location. Check out their other 4 diamond resorts. Let relaxation take charge with unbeatable desert and mountain views with over 4,500 slots, live table games. Catch all the action at any of their sports books. We'll be hosting all the events out there, including Cards and Suns watch parties and more. So stay tuned on all the info on how you can come hang with us and let the good times roll at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details.
Mina Kimes, but first, how about shopping the number 18 collection, getting the number 18 vibes going higher than they've been? Can't buy a number 18 jersey, but you can shop it right now. PHNXlocker.com. Is it the weekend? I think sporting this number 18 collection at State Farm Stadium this weekend, this will fuel the MHJ rebirth on the stat sheet. Maserati Marv T, MHJ, celebratory T, and then the 1 + 18 = 6. I need them all. They're in my closet. I need them all to come to fruition on a football Sunday. That's where you step in, become a diehard. Go PHNX.com. Pick up a shirt for free right now. You become a diehard, 20% off all merch indefinitely moving forward. Again, shop the number 18 collection today. You will not be sorry that you did. And now to Mina Kimes. Fold, joining Bo and I throughout the season. ESPN NFL analyst, friend of the program, Mina Kimes is here on PHNX Cardinals. Welcome, Mina.
Hi, thanks for having me. I enjoy watching the Cardinals, so I'm excited to talk about them.
Yeah, I was curious. We saw them as one of your top 5 NFL League Pass teams, and after 1 week, are they staying within the top 5?
You know, after one half, I felt pretty good about that.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's early goings. Obviously, you got a rookie wide receiver, so trying to find the footing of not just how to incorporate him into the offense, but also developing chemistry between him and the quarterback. That was obviously an issue. But, as far as the first performance goes, I thought it was intriguing. I thought Kyler Murray in particular played well. And that's something I'm excited to monitor throughout the season because, finally coming off of a healthy offseason, comfort in the offense, I thought all that showed up.
Do you feel like, Mina, though, at this point in Kyler Murray's career, given the state of, where the Cardinals are at, like, can they be taking moral victories after being up, 14 points, in their first game of the year? Because I think a lot of Cardinal fans expected them to close that game out against Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, no, you definitely can't because especially when the goal of this season, in my opinion, is for the offense to affirm what we saw in the second half of the last year and grow on it. I don't candidly have high expectations for this defense. I just think from a talent standpoint, they're just too up against it. That has not been the focus of the rebuild in the same way, although obviously you draft some players this year who you want to see turn into your defensive core, but you don't have highly paid free agents on that side of the ball. That's going to have to wait. This year for me is about that offense, affirming your decision to stick with Kyler Murray as your quarterback. And, again, going off of week one, no, it's not a win because you got to play a complete football game and you want to see a more refined passing attack. And you certainly want to see more Marvin Harrison Jr. But I think just isolating it to the quarterback, watching the way he looked, throwing the football, particularly on the move in the first half, some of the extensions that we saw, I thought his process was good. I do think there's something to be encouraged by.
Yeah, let's dive deeper into this offense because it sounds like you're with us. You're a bit shocked that the Cardinals didn't even tweak their offensive game plan really with the addition of Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, it was a heavy dose of James Conner and looking, over the middle of the field, Trey McBride, Greg Dortch. But as far as, the downfield passing attack and the incorporation of Marv, we just didn't see it. How do you kind of view the Cardinals remedying this?
Yeah, a lot of that is I have to think matchup specific, looking at this Buffalo defense that has some deficiencies up the spine and kind of thinking, okay, we're going to run the ball on them. We're going to pass it over the middle of the field, as you said. We're going to take advantage of our matchup advantages in that way. And the way the Bills played them in the game too, just trying to put, an umbrella on everything and force Kyler to check it down at times. I thought maybe the Cardinals almost let the defense dictate to them a little bit too much as this game went on with Drew Petzing. You never want to force your number one wide receiver just to do it, but I do think they probably should have made a better effort to do so in the second half. And I suspect next week you're going to see that a lot because you're going up against a team that doesn't really have very strong cornerbacks. The perimeter is where I would attack, and I think Marvin Harrison Jr. will be more involved as a result.
I want to stay on that subject if we could, Mina, just real quick, because, Cliff Kingsbury is kind of like a 4-letter word around here. But one thing he did excel at with Kyler and DeAndre Hopkins, they would stretch the field vertically. And, I understand at the end of last year, Drew Petzing, they kept it kind of condensed in the sense of keeping it underneath with K1. But now, as you mentioned, with the investment in these weapons, not just Marvin, but Trey McBride and Michael Wilson, like there should be an obligation to reemerge Kyler's deep ball.
Yeah, you got to kind of take the governor off this offense. But you also have to see him throw a pretty deep ball. And I want to say, like, as much I did see some encouraging stuff in Kyler's performance, we really haven't seen that since he's returned from the injury. So in the second half of last season, there was a lot to like, I thought. But again, you didn't really see that. You haven't seen it in a really long time. He used to throw a gorgeous, accurate deep ball with so much touch. You want to see that. And I think it makes me wonder, like, does Drew Petzing skeptical of the offense being efficient that way? Is skeptical to connect on those explosives? But you have to work past that because not only do you want to see it from the quarterback, and not only will defenses play them a little bit tighter and heavier if they don't have to fear that, but in Marvin Harrison Jr., like, think about it this way, you drafted him so high. When you drafted a player that high, when he comes in with expectations that high, and when his tape looks like it did in college, you're not just saying, hey, like, let's only throw the deep ball if we feel perfect comfort in a quarterback and we love the matchup and we, can scheme him wide open. You're doing it because it's Marvin Harrison Jr., right? Like a 50-50 ball to him should be a 70-30 ball. That's what we saw out of him. So I do think you have to test that a bit more. And it's not just about leaning on the quarterback. It's saying, hey, we really trust this guy to go up and make a play.
We all long for deep ball Kyler to return home. We're all impatiently waiting for him to walk through that door. Isn't this a league-wide thing, though? I mean, we're seeing across the league numbers is even further down this season. But I mean, what can the Cardinals do to maybe be one of the few teams that can do it? Maybe like the Chiefs or the Dolphins.
It's such a great point because the numbers, not just this for week one, but really going back to last season, average depth of target is way down, and it primarily has to do with the way defenses are playing, similarly to what you saw from Buffalo in this game, right? Just trying to put a roof on offenses. And as far as how to get past that, or I guess I think sometimes it's funny because sometimes, it's like, okay, but you want to be content. If defenses play that way and you're a dominant running team, and I think the Cardinals view themselves as such, you don't want to force the ball downfield. You want to say, oh, you're going to sit back and too high. Okay, we're going to just grind you away underneath. And that's great. But the problem is if you don't connect on anything downfield, start cheating up a little bit, and there's less fear of not having, extra cornerbacks in coverage. And that's where you start to increase the level of difficulty in the passing game because the margins become so tight underneath. You have to stress defenses vertically. So I do think that with Arizona, if you don't really see that from this offense in the next few weeks, defenses will start playing them differently as a result, and it'll make it harder to be efficient and have the high success rate.
Yeah, I didn't know what to truly make of those numbers. I thought it potentially could have just been based on Bo Nix's debut on Sunday for those numbers.
Caleb too, man. Caleb and Jaden, dude. Those guys were. I feel like between the three of them, they averaged 3 air yards per target. It was wild.
Let's stay on the subject of Kyler Murray because I think he's graded on a curve a little bit and not the fairest of ways. So Bo and I argue, about this seemingly every day, that the Cardinals did not invest in their defense this offseason, certainly in free agency. And you look around the landscape of the NFL, and Baker Mayfield's winning games in the NFC South, and he's got a defensive head coach, but they have talent there. I think the Cardinals, at the end of the day, are doing a disservice to Kyler Murray because, they put up 28 points this week. They lost. Dating back to last year, they've given up the second most points in the NFL. ESPN picked them to be the worst defense in the NFL this year. Do you feel like, yes, they can rebuild, but at the same time, you got to allow, when you're paying a quarterback $50 million, an opportunity to compete, especially in this division?
Yeah, it puts a lot of stress on the young players that I alluded to, the ones you want to see become the defensive core. I will say I thought Zaven Collins was outstanding in this one and also unfairly called at the end of the first half. If I remember correctly, that was completely BS. But it does stress them. And you see that a team like Carolina where they were we don't care about the defense anymore. We're going to invest entirely in the offense. Well, setting aside how that offense looks, that's great. But all of a sudden, your offense is constantly in passing situations. I will say this, and I said at the top, I'm not a believer in the Cardinals defense this year. I don't think they're going to be one of the better defenses in the NFL. However, you can look at the Bucs and say, wow, they were awesome. You have to account for competition week one. I know it sucks to give up a lead to Buffalo, but Buffalo is one of the best teams in the NFL. Josh Allen, my view is QB2 in this league. A lot of teams are going to give up 28 points to Buffalo. It sucks the way it played out, no doubt, especially when he goes Superman like that. And I think some of the better quarterbacking performances around the NFL this week came against defenses where we're going to look back and say, oh, a lot of that actually had to do with who was on the other side of the football, the Commanders, the Panthers, what have you. So, I'm not saying to not be skeptical about the defense for sure. But I also think you have to put this week one loss in context, which is you played a really damn good football team and lost.
A little bit of a two-parter here, actually just straight up a two-parter. As far as things that this Cardinals team can build off of from week one, and then one that you're waving your red flag on.
I think, like I said, I thought there was actually a lot encouraging from Kyler Murray, honestly, week one. I thought showed good accuracy, obviously, especially in the first half. You saw the same sort of ability to extend and throw on the move that you saw in the second half of last season. I think there's definitely something to build on there. Even when the run game isn't dominant, and it wasn't dominant, it was fine, but it wasn't dominant. The quarterback being able to work, particularly the short intermediate part of the field, is huge. So now you want to build on that. You want to, throw the ball deep, as we've discussed. But I do think it was actually a good game from Kyler. So there's that. Defensively, like I said, I thought Zaven Collins looked outstanding, certainly validating that contract decision. just really like watching him play football. He was a prospect I was always really intrigued by because of his length and get off and, coming from the small school. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I would take him. What was he, 17th or something? I remember being shocked when he was drafted. And, you can argue that he hasn't lived up to that status, but I think maybe that put an unfair expectation on what he is actually capable of. And he is naturally the kind of player you see get better as they figure out how to deploy him. Once they realized he was good rushing the passer, he seems like he's like kind of putting it together. So that's really exciting there. As far as the red flag goes, my expectations for the defense are not great. I've talked about that. I think, just the Harrison Jr. thing is something you really, really want to keep an eye on because you don't, like I said, not to be a broken record on this, you don't want to let matchups necessarily dictate your game plan to the extent that we saw in week 1.
Mina, we'll get you out of here on this. Looking ahead to this weekend, the Arizona Cardinals host the LA Rams. They're favored for the first time against a divisional opponent in the history of the JG era. Gannon, unfortunately, 0 for 6 last year in the division, playing without a full deck. We admit that. But now you go into this game, the Rams are beat up. They have no offensive lineman to speak of. Puka Nacua is out. They just played 5 quarters on Sunday Night Football. Like, I don't want to talk about must wins here in week 2, but if we're sitting here at the end of the year and it's like, oh man, they missed out on the postseason by like 1 or 2 games. Is this a game the Cardinals, in your opinion, to be viable at the end of the year have to have?
I will go back to kind of what I know this probably isn't what Cardinals fans want to hear, but I think success in this one isn't beating the Rams necessarily, but I think you want your offense to look better than they did week 1, or at least put together a more complete performance because this Rams defense, like I said, the perimeter is where I would attack. If you can't get Marvin Harrison Jr. going in this one, I actually think you officially are like have a problem, right? So there's that aspect of it. However, yes, they're banged up, but you just saw sometimes, Matthew Stafford, the Stafford-McVay Cup combination, it often doesn't matter. They were down to like their backup offensive tackles. It didn't matter if Stafford goes into God mode the way he does. And I don't think like letting that offense score on you is some great failure because I think they're going to be one of the better offenses in the NFL, even with the injuries.
Did you see the Mesquite High School alum Roy Lopez with the strip sack on
He went
Josh
to Mesquite?
Allen?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Is he our first NFL player?
I'd have to check the wiki page on that. I don't know. But like,
wow,
this show is we're leading the charge as far as the Roy Lopez fan club. So
he is a good player.
You're a proud Mesquite alum.
He is super solid. Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know we had, because I know Fitzpatrick was Highland, I think, right? Mm-hmm. Or Gilbert or yeah. And then Purdy went to like some school I've never heard of, some new school, I feel like, right?
Yeah, Perry.
Perry. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. We got a Mesquite guy. Okay. Oh, now I have no choice but to stand. Thank you for letting me know.
They're true only
proud McBride, and then of course you got Rolo.
I love it. Go Wildcats.
Great stuff from Mina Kimes. Of course, check out the Mina Kimes Show featuring the great Lenny, and of course all her work on ESPN, NFL Live, and of course saw you last night, Monday Night Football. It's fantastic work. Can't wait to catch up with you down the road here. Thanks, Mina.
Bye, guys.
Great stuff from Mina Kimes. She's going to join us throughout the NFL season later this month, and hopefully Bo will be talking about a dub with her, with Michael Wilson, with Brian Baldinger. Let's get some good vibes going with our guests here. Bo, you are muted, my friend. Oh, but that's okay.
Yeah, we're good. We got me now.
Yeah, I got you.
I was speechless after another great guest. I mean, I don't want to throw it around too early in the season.
Yeah,
but with a trip to Chili's on the line with Michael Wilson, it's a must win on Sunday.
Week 2 means everything.
It really does. I mean, you take everything away. You get paralysis by overanalysis, but what it all comes down to is pretty much Chili's. And do we go or do we not go?
We do not screw around with the triple dipper. That's what we don't do. And I will be picking all 3 selections if the Cardinals win when they win. And speaking of selections,
you're not even going to give Michael Wilson
no chance. Mike doesn't know how to pick.
He'd be like celery sticks.
Yeah, Mike, we're not doing veggies here, my friend. Nashville hot honey chipotle chicken crispers. We'll do the Southwest egg rolls per your recommendation, Bo. And then either we're going sliders or we're going mozzarella sticks. But
I love all the cheese they just throw on a skillet there at Chili's.
It's great.
Just like, is it cheese? Just throw it on a hot plate and just see what happens and dip some stuff into it.
Johnny has a game plan.
Yeah.
I do. Well, they know me there. We're friends. I frequent it often. I have a booth. So
Hey,
again,
John.
I don't want to overstep. I don't want to overreact, but we'll be able to take care of business quickly. I can put it in motion fast when the Cardinals win on Sunday. Speaking of winning, you're going to be winning with our friends at Shady Rays. Every time you shop online looking for premier sunglasses at not a premium price, folks. Independent sunglass company is Shady Rays, offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames, crystal clear optics, making them perfect choices for your outdoor adventures. And I wear them inside. I wear them outside. I drive in them. I go to the grocery store in them. I work out in them. And the best part is, if I lose them, which I have before, I can buy new ones for under $40. No questions asked. We're going to hook you up right now. PHNX is the bonus code, 35% off. Polarized sunglasses. It's the only sunglasses I wear here in the Venerable household moving forward. Try them for free for yourself. Rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. If you don't like them, send them back for free. No questions asked, or swap them out with a different pair. The customer service is elite. The vibes are elite. The selection is even more elite. Check them out online right now. Bonus code PHNX, 35% off polarized sunglasses of your choosing. ShadyRays.com.
Let's talk about elevating your brand. Look just over my head here. Right here. See it? There it is. That's a Brandon Bills hat right there. That's part of their campus collection. It's unbelievable what they can do to elevate your brand, Brandon Bills, with perfect headwear and apparel. I was just browsing their site right now. That campus collection, introducing a collection of officially licensed college headwear. You're going to want to check out that full set of gear. Plus, they've got the custom headwear and apparel that you're going to want to dive into as well, whether it's for your company, whether it's your softball team, whether it's for your kids' Little League baseball team or Pee Wee football team. You want to check out the finished goods in as little as 2 weeks, multiple decoration options, low minimums of just 12 or more. That's all it's going to take. That's all that's going to take as far as 12 or more. That's all it's going to take to get you lined up with our friends over at Brandon Bill, and also personal customer service. They're going to talk with you and figure out what's best for your brand. Their local company in Mesa, Arizona, partnerships with ASU and U of A as part of their campus selection. Head to BrandonBills.com. They use the code PHNX for 20% off your first order. That's PHNX for 20% off with the code at BrandonBills.com.
Mina Kimes, fantastic. You want to keep the good vibes going, drop a like. We're going for 500 likes here on Mina Kimes' in-season debut on PHNX Cardinals. We got more super chats, but before we get to those, we got to hold them or fold them, gentlemen, here on a PHNX Cardinals Wednesday. Here's what I will say. We put out 3 bets last week. Only one of us, Schleiman, Schlag, Damon, Dawg, hit on his bet. Bo and I are both over for the year. Damon, Dawg holding the line 1-0. Damon, can you share with everybody what your bet was from last week?
I absolutely can, because I didn't get rid of the graphic yet. So these were our bets from last week. We had Bo with Falcons -3, one of the worst bets we've probably ever seen anyone ever make. And then I had Daniel Jones over 1.5 interception. That was the easiest bet of all time. And Johnny, of course, went for the juice with Broncos money line at +205. Johnny, thought we had him for a second there, didn't we?
Falcons were never in it. They were never leading. They never did anything. It was one of the worst bets we've ever seen.
Never had it. There was at no point people thought the Broncos had it.
Look at him trying to overcompensate, Bo. Damon. Trying to make me feel good.
We missed 2 out of our 3 bets, and Johnny's like, we're operating at 60%. It doesn't matter that we're losers 60% of the time.
All right, so we will keep track of the updates. We like our bets this week. I actually think I like mine more than last week.
You did tell me when we talked earlier that you got another slime ball pick, and I can't wait to see it.
Let's get gross. We're here on the older
Johnny's
fold.
The grossest.
He's a man that lives without shame. Like, he doesn't have that area in his brain.
No, I do not. Hold or fold the line week 2. Let's see the lines. Gentlemen, Bills money line, Bo Brack at +115. Oh my goodness. Buffalo Bills playing the Miami Dolphins on a short week on Thursday Night Football. Bo, give us some rationale there.
The Bills, they showed a bit of continuity as far as their play against the Arizona Cardinals, even though they had a bunch of changes in personnel on both sides of the football. Historically, the Dolphins don't have a lot of success against Josh Allen and crew. Damon, Dawg informed me he's won about that the Dolphins have beat Josh Allen about twice since he entered the league in 2018. So Josh Allen, he's got a whole lot of success against them. And what Mina Kimes just told us as far as how the Bills limit downfield passing, what we saw on full display on Sunday, can they take out, that great wide receiver core of the Dolphins? You give me Josh Allen's and plus money, I'm taking it.
I don't hate it. I'm very surprised you can get plus money. I don't hate it as much as your bet last week. Damon, you're going Jets -3.5. Before we get to that, are we holding or folding the line with Bo Brack? I will hold with Bo Brack this week. Damon, Dawg, you're up.
I'm going to fold because that's so disrespectful. The name of the segment, obviously, derived from my ingenuity. And then Bo's going to sit here and he's going to take the Bills, who I despise more than any team in football, and shove it in my face. I'm folding that just solely because I feel like I have to. I'm a man of principle.
Here's why I also like this bet. It's because the Jaguars lost that week 1 game as opposed to the Dolphins going and winning that game. I didn't like the Dolphins in week 1. I was surprised by their performance. And there was a lot to like, especially in the second half from the Bills.
All right, moving on to bet number 2.
Hey, thank you, Johnny.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you for holding the line.
Stop. Now I'm regretting it. Let's go. Line number 2 here. Hold or fold the line. Damon Dawg going Jets -3.5 at home against, is it on the road or at home against the Tennessee Titans?
I believe it's on the road. And I solely am taking this because I think, Jets embarrassment last week. You're the laughing stock of the NFL. You got to come out hot this week. You lose, you're 0-2 with a loss to the Titans. Call it a season if you're the New York Jets. I mean, it'll be week 2 and it'll already be over. They have to win this game. Defense looked terrible last week, but on paper, they still have a really good defense. Will Levis on his knees, looking at the heavens of playing against the Chicago Bears. The Jets have a better defense than the Bears, in my opinion. So I like the Jets to win pretty handily here. I think -3.5 should be easy.
Will Levis dropping down after realizing he threw the most egregious pick 6 in week 1 to flush a win down the toilet after the Bears came out and did nothing offensively and squandered 17-point lead. The Bears once again winning without the benefit of an offensive touchdown. We all know the other time they did that, pains me to say, they are who we thought they were. I like this. I agree with you. Like, the pressure's on Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers to go on the road and win handily. So 3.5 doesn't seem too much. Like, I heard Colin Cowherd, he's finally on the side of this podcast, Johnny, PHNX Cardinals, and realizing that the Tennessee Titans are a bad football team. Like, the only team standing in their way are the Carolina Panthers as far as the bottom of the barrel. So I like this for a bounce back for the Jets.
Yeah, 3.5 is more than I would ever want to give a road team. And I think Rodgers looked particularly good, but just by default, the Titans are a joke franchise right now. We laugh at them. We'll continue to laugh at them. So I will hold with Damon Dawg. Speaking of jokes, speaking of dumpsters, speaking of hurl fests, let's look at the last bet of the week here. What I think is tremendous value: Washington Commanders hosting the New York Giants. Danny Dimes. I'm going plus money on the Giants money line. I think very little of the New York Giants. I think even less of the Washington Commanders. I think Dan Quinn is a huge mega fraud. And I think Cliff Kingsbury has been exposed time and time again. Here's what I will say about the Giants. I think defensively, with their edge rushers, something we're unfamiliar with here in Arizona, they will make our boy from ASU and LSU uncomfortable. I think that he'll make mistakes in the pocket. And I think the Giants will end up winning a low-scoring game.
Bless you.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I think it's going to be gross. I think it's going to be ugly. But I think the Giants will still be a terrible team at the end of the year. I think Jaden Daniels eventually will have his moments. But I think for this game, for this week, everybody has underestimated how bad the Commanders' defense is. Because if you look at the Cardinals, it's even worse than the Cardinals. So Daboll for a week can scheme open some players. Maybe Neighbors has a big game. And then the pass rush rains down. Jaden Daniels makes mistakes. Dan Quinn's a buffoon. Giants get the win.
Yeah. Did you ever consider, like, how do you sleep at night? I mean,
I'm not here to do chalk. I'm here to make people money.
Hey, that's very apparent. Like with your last 2 weeks,
every team that we slandered all off season long, Johnny's like, get me in a piece of that.
Danny Dimes has thrown since signing his extension more pick sixes than touchdown passes.
It was really hard for me to not do Daniel Jones interception again this week.
I know.
It really was.
I wish you were going to play the hits.
But
can you even get like minus 500 on that though? I feel like
it's minus 115. I looked at it, but the Commanders' defense is just bad though.
Did you see Bobby Wagner run into his own guy?
No.
In pursuit of a ball carry, he just ran into another Commanders player. Bobby Wagner, shocked to nobody, especially on this show, realizing, he's going to the Commanders. That's a good addition. It's like, what year is it? Which Bobby Wagner? I mean, I agree. Like, the Commanders are gross, and they showed, just throwing a bunch of new players and pieces into new coaching staff that used to play football at a high level doesn't mean that you're like Austin Eckler, Bobby Wagner. It doesn't translate to wins in the NFL.
They desperately, Cardinals need to get a dub this weekend because they will beat the holy hell out of the Washington Commanders when they come to State Farm Stadium in 2 weeks. That's why this game is so important on Sunday. But
Hunter saying I played it safe. Hey man, as long as the slips are green at the end of it, I don't care. You can say whatever you want. 2 minus. I'm the only minus money bet this week. That's fine. I'm cool with that.
Are you guys holding or folding the Giants this week for me?
I can't in good conscience hold with you. I'm sorry. I fold.
The Commanders are at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to fold that as well, Johnny.
That's fine. It's boring, but it's part of my life. I'll be on an island. That's fine. Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, they'll get it done for your boy. Baharo, $2 super chat. I'm assuming he's talking about Cooper Beebe and Pooney. Great GM. Monty's guys, Adams equals bench. So Cooper Beebe had a good game this weekend. And Adams and a lot of the Cardinal rookies are not playing. So it's the time to evaluate like who picked the right kind of guys. And again, like I'm not going to push back on that. You'd love to have Cooper Beebe right now if you're the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, Cooper Beebe was consistently a PFF mock draft machine darling of this podcast.
We did it early and often.
We loved him. Started K-State, and for whatever reason, like he didn't get a whole lot of respect during the pre-draft process as one of the top guards in this draft, and he's proven that to be incorrect since his stint here with the Dallas Cowboys. It's gross that the Cowboys are able to be the beneficiary from that.
Loso, this is a good one, $5 super chat. Bring Reddick home. I know Johnny drives a Prius, but it's a very nice Prius. Some say it's the best Prius. What are we doing on this show?
Well, I mean, like, I can't confirm or deny it. What car Johnny drives? Some have speculated it's
my car. Yes, you can confirm it. You've seen it. I've driven with you in my car. It is not a Prius.
I didn't check out the make and model.
How dare you?
The conversation was so intense. Yeah. I don't know. Enjoy time with my friend.
Yeah. Bo and his monster truck. Yanks $4.99. Outside of HO, what teams have turned their franchise around in 1 year? I feel the 2 to 3 year timeline is sustainable. Bo and I holding the line for that. Listen, I'm all for sustainability, but I think you also have to be cognizant of it wasn't just before JG and Austin Ford. I mean, you're on the heels of you've won 4 games in over 2 years. And then on top of that, the collapse in 2021, like that plays a factor in it too. If you were to go back just as a franchise and look at the total wins this team has had since about November of 2021, it is egregious. It is unwatchable. So I can understand and sympathize with people that's just like, come on, can we get this going here? We've got some resources. Let's use them. But
yeah,
I also, and Bo and I talked about this earlier today, like I don't think there's any pressure right now for Michael Bidwell or Monty Austinford on Jonathan Gannon. Like, you got to go win these games right now. I don't.
Yeah. But, it is going to be important for Gannon to get this team, and he realizes the importance of doing that. Like Houston, as Yanks mentioned, they started last season out 0-2. We had a Texans tracker that we were very excited about last year.
We were celebrating after week 2.
It was fire graphic. We thought we were going to be spiking the football every other week here, and instead they turned things around, and they got consistent play from CJ Stroud, more than consistent play. I mean, he elevated that team, and they made their way to the playoffs, and they won a playoff game, and that's changed the perception that, I mean, they went into the offseason as one of the most trendiest teams, and they were able to land the big fish, on the free agent market, and Danielle Hunter, and then some, and they make a trade for Stephon Diggs. A franchise changing trade happened in that offseason, and at some point there's going to be a crossroads for Monty Ossenfort to maybe take the hard hat off and kind of make the decision on whether or not his team is a piece away. And like the trade to go for it trade was to move back up in the draft with the Cardinals to get a Will Anderson, and it helped transform that defense and get him a player at a premium position, opposite side of the football with CJ Stroud, that just changed the complexion of how they play football and what DeMeco Ryans and that coaching staff could do. So, is it happened? Do they force the issue to where it happens before the trade deadline, or do they gain some momentum, the Cardinals, going into the offseason and become big players in the offseason? That remains to be seen. But the crossroads is going to come.
For a lot of us, it's already here, Bo Brock. In the meantime,
maybe too early for you.
Big thanks to Mina Kimes.
You've been sitting there waiting for the bus at that crossroads for months.
Call me Bone Thugs and Harmony. Meet me at the crossroads here for Monty Ossenfort and Company. Like this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports on YouTube. Banner Day. Mina Kimes making her in-season debut. Big thanks to Mina. Michael Wilson, if you missed our interview yesterday, check that out. As Bo alluded to, Brian Baldinger talking about K1 Marv, maybe the disconnect and what can be fixed. We've got that dropping mañana. And, of course, everything and anything at gophnx.com. I'd be remiss if I didn't say, and it happened just before we went live today, a big thank you to the person that's responsible for bringing me onto the show, and my co-host and my producer, Mr. the GM, Saul Bookman, who is, as of tomorrow, no longer our GM, still with ALLCITY. Big things in store for Saul, but we appreciate you, Saul. Thank you for the opportunity. We'll still see you around, but this show is not this show without Saul Bookman.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Bittersweet day here around the PHNX studios, but absolutely, I'm right there with you. Big ups to the big guy for giving us the chance to do this show, putting us in the position to do so, and couldn't be more excited for you with the new gig. Congrats on the promotion. Can't wait to see what he does in that position. So,
absolutely. And also shout out Michaela as well.
That's
Michaela
right.
Perkins last day. She's been our social person since we started this company, and it's going to be different without her, but we're really excited for her next opportunity as well.
Yep. Go crush it, Mac. Excited for you as well.
Yep.
Craig Morgan, read the actual article, not the what's going around the Twitter streets from those engagement farmers. Go PHNX.com. Kyler Murray's full quote as far as Marvin Harrison Jr., Drew Petzing. It's a great read. You won't regret it. Craig Morgan, follow him on Twitter as well, at Craig S. Morgan. As Johnny said, Baldy tomorrow at 4:30, not full show, but we catch up with Baldy. He gives you all the insight, all of it. So don't miss it. Make sure you subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Johnny, anything else?
I want to win, and I am going to do what I can to help get us one here in week 2.
Appreciate that, Johnny.
Yeah, of course.
That means a lot.
I'm not sure Bo's commitments. Didn't even know K1 was on the injury report. For Bo Brock, Damon, Dawg, Mina Kimes, friend of the program, part of the program, I'm Johnny Venerable. Thanks to everybody. Like this video. We'll see you on Friday.
We all silly like the mayor.